Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me today. I'm very pleased to be here, and I hope with the next 1 hour you will find that some enthusiasm out of this induction course that has been, I believe it's for 3 weeks, which is fantastic. When I joined engineering college, I just got into the first day and the lecture started the first day itself. So this is fantastic. I'm so happy that these things are being taken up now in universities and inviting people from the industry to help you get motivated a little bit, I hope. Okay. Is there any reason why the segregation? Oh, yeah, because I just noticed that. I mean, 1 and 2. Okay. Except a few back there. Okay. Okay. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Jagdish Rele. I was a young student like you at some point in time, many years ago, of course. And I am now where you see with the gray hair, a gray beard, and everything else. That's the evolution, okay, that you see. And you should also be aspiring for that, but not so soon. Take your time over it. I want to talk a little bit about myself and tell you where I came from, how I came, and what it is. So basically, all my education has been done in India, which is very important. And only after working in India for the first 13 years that I decided to go to the Middle East. And I can't see this, so this is a bit of a problem now.
You can be here.
I think I should be here because I can't see that, yeah. Yeah, because so after working in India for 13 years, I decided to go to the Middle East because that's the time when every Tom, Dick, and Harry was going to the Middle East. So I said, let me also try it. I went there, I didn't like it, but I stayed for about 3.5 years, came back. And then I started my own consultancy firm in India, in Mumbai to be precise, which was project management and structural engineering at the time. And then I joined the UN, and we'll talk about that story. And then the World Bank, and now after 25 years, I'm finally back in the country. Okay, hoping to enthuse students like you to take the same journey path like many of us have done. Okay, so that's who I am. I'm not going to read from the slides, but I'll leave the slides a little bit for you to see. Okay. Ultimate aim for every engineer is to become a fellow, and I'm glad that I'm now a fellow of in the Institution of Engineers. And as this was already told to you, 25 years abroad, 65 countries. The fourth point is very important, is dealing with political situations and the complexities. As you know, India is a highly politicized country as well, and it's important that we deal with it in the context that is given to us. Okay. It's not that you can dictate this unless you decide to become a politician yourself, but otherwise you have to navigate that. And that's not easy to navigate, but one learns to do it by getting beaten up several times, and not physically beaten up, so be careful. And you tend to then take things properly. One of the most important things is that you have to be honest in your opinion. Don't bullshit, okay? Just state the facts as they are and let the individual sitting opposite you decide how to decipher those facts. Yeah. Then managing expectations of diverse stakeholders. Now you may think that we are all in India and therefore we are not diverse, but we are extremely diverse. In fact, we are more diverse in India than I should say in an international setting. And the diversity is, simple things, the way, I was very pleased when Professor Desai told me that you greet even all the staff, the support staff, as Jai Hind, which is fantastic. I only hope that you can carry that forward when you leave this institution. And that's something we tend to. How many of you say Jai Hind to your staff at home? Do you? No? You don't, right? So, you do? Oh, fantastic. So, great. So, that's something which is extremely important, to treat your own surroundings in the best possible manner. And the last 2 points are obvious, okay. So, that's my experience. I have just split it into various geographical things because the industry talks about it geographically. ECA is East Europe and Central Asia. MENA is Middle East and North Africa. AFR is Sub-Saharan Africa, that is below the Mediterranean Sea. SAR is Southeast Asia, and EAP is East Asia Pacific. Okay, so that's just me telling you where all I have been. Okay, and this you can see in a pictorial form. These are all the countries that I have been to. Okay. That's the experience. It's already been told to you. I narrated that experience myself also to you. The last point is important to me, is you all remember Indira Gandhi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember that she was assassinated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you also remember that Rajiv Gandhi, her son, became the Prime Minister of India. And what you don't know then is that one of the things that when he signed an accord with Punjab, you can Google it, it's called the Rajiv Gandhi Longowal Accord. Longowal was one of the leading persons from Punjab side at the time. One of the things that the grouse of the Punjabis state was that there is no employment in that state. It is only farmers. So he put up a factory which was called Rail Coach Manufacturing Factory in the state of Punjab to give an employment for about 10,000 people at the time. This is 1988, 1986 I'm talking about. Okay. And I was responsible for, through my company of course at the time, to help construct that factory. It was one of the largest factories in construction in Asia at the time. It was 30 crores. Today 30 crores sounds very little, but if you go back and check how much it is in US dollar terms today, in 1986, you'll find that it's quite a lot of some money. And as a result of working on that thing, I was managed to get a scholarship by the government of Japan to learn project management. And that was a fabulous and a fantastic experience. First of all, in 1988, to go to Japan as a young boy, I would say boy because I was only about less than 30 years old then, to go there and live at the expense of the government of Japan for 6 months in Japan was phenomenal. Okay. And the training that they give is superb. This was an on-job training, not a classroom training, so which makes a tremendous difference. And the first 6 weeks was orientation like you have today. And that 6 weeks they also teach you how to navigate the Japanese language. And I'm proud to say that in the exam, it was going back to class, school actually, I stood first in the Japanese language. Today I can't speak it. I've lost touch. But I could navigate myself in Japan at the time very well. So the reason I'm telling you is that yes, it's called the Association of Overseas Technical Scholarship. You can make a note of it, and you can Google it again. And when the time comes, it's after a few years after you have worked that you can apply for that. There are various training programs, and they are excellent. You can look at them. So that's what we are here for today. So this is important. This is perhaps the most important slide that I have in my life. Okay? Please see it. Okay? That's the most important thing, to have fun in life. I can't use unparliamentary language here, but I would say that life is this thing. Okay? And if you, these 2 years you're going to be working hard, I know, but these 2 years would perhaps be the best years of your life, because after this you graduate and it's going to be absolute hell after this. Okay? Working is no fun. Okay? Unfortunately, we all have to do that, but it's no fun. Okay? But if you can keep the principle that, all of it is to have fun in life, and do it like that, don't take life too seriously, you can be very happy. Okay? So my thoughts, what are my thoughts? Let me just read out now to you the thoughts and tell you what I feel. So first is this week is to get you in the right direction, and your faculty is going to be doing that for you over the next 2 years. What I want to talk about is my life, how I went from college to where I am today. You remember in those days there were no computers, nothing. Okay, computers came much later in life for me, and today you have the internet. You can just navigate whichever way you want, and you can Google just about anything. So your text cast, that helps you a lot. But the most important part is to excel in graduation, whatever that may be. Okay, and you can decide what you want to do, as I said, in college, and I'll explain to you this story about a baker in Pune. Okay, and I don't have a problem in telling you who this baker in Pune is. Do you know Dhole Patil Road? Okay, I see her somewhere. At Dhole Patil Road, there is a bakery called Just Baked. I don't know if you know that, but it's a very old bakery and very well known. You can go there one of these days when you feel like. Okay, I happened to go there a few years ago, I mean 2 years ago or so, again, and he got talking to the owner, who is a Parsi gentleman. And somehow we got talking, and it so happened that his school and my school were opposite each other. So that's how we got talking about it. Okay, and then he went on to lament that, he did not study in school. While his mother kept telling him that, look, you must study, etc., but he just had a lot of fun. And he just finished his school, didn't do any college education, and just dropped out. And today he says, I wake up every day at 3 in the morning to start baking. Okay, so he says, if only I had worked differently at the time, things could have been different. He's a successful baker, but he still has to wake up at 3 every day in the morning to start his baking preparation. Okay, and that's something that tells you, how it's up to you how you decide your life, all of us. Okay, but this is just a story that I thought is quite interesting. And this is also very important. Many times I have been asked, you worked abroad for so many years, and is there any difference between working abroad and working in India and in so many different countries? And I say this quite proudly, there is none. Okay, there's absolutely no difference whatsoever. The only difference that I found within working in India, the same level of corruption exists outside as it does in this country. Everything, so don't get me wrong, everything is the same. It's no different. The levels are different and all of that, but that, navigating, and I used to deal with the government. So it's not that I was dealing with anybody. I used to deal with the government. It's not easy dealing with the government then too. Even though you go with the flag of the United Nations or the World Bank, it's still not easy. It's difficult. The only difference is the respect. Okay. What I found is that whenever you're meeting whosoever, in all my meetings, be it a high official, low official, etc., the kind of respect that they give to each other, I'm not talking about me, to each other, is amazing. You know, I think you will find that in a lot of places, and I'm not belittling any of us because I am also a part of that same society, we tend to interrupt when the other person is talking. You know, we don't let people finish. And those kind of things. So really there's no difference, and we should be proud of who we are and what we can do. So I'm going to now take you through these things just as a introduction, put it that way. You can obviously Google and find out, but just to tell you what the UN is, and what the World Bank is, and what my thing is. Okay, so these are the principal organs of the United Nations. The General Assembly and Security Council are the ones that you know best. Okay, because everything happens in the world is dictated by the Security Council. You know that India is trying to become a permanent member of the Security Council, and I've been hearing this for a long time. I hope it happens in my lifetime. Let's see. It's difficult. The Secretariat is what you see on the right there, is where I was working. Okay, in that. And then there are the other councils. I'm not going to go through them. As I said, please go through it. And these are the main pillars of the UN: peace and security, human rights, rule of law, and development. Okay. And these are still valid today, even though it's 70 plus years since the organization has been set up. That's the building in New York. It's a famous landmark in New York. It's an architectural beauty as well. That's the General Assembly Hall. And this is the Security Council, this thing, table. I'm proud to say that I had the privilege of sitting in one Security Council meeting. It was a closed-door meeting. It was for providing support to Somalia. What you see here is a lot of people. There were not very few of us there because what is called as a closed-door meeting. Nobody can enter. Only of those people who are invited can enter into that. That's sort of a highlight of my career. UN peacekeeping is where I was working. Basically, it's to endure peace, or when there is genocide, in the case of Darfur, or it's forced upon by the Security Council. I am going through this fast. I might finish much earlier. If you feel that you need me to get back to this, we will. I don't want to bore you. Okay. And what are the Security Council resolutions? I only want to talk about the two resolutions, that is Chapter 6 and Chapter 7, that you ought to know just as a general knowledge. Chapter 6 is mainly what is called as peacekeeping. Okay, that means that there are military observers. How many of you are from a military background? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Okay. So that's from what is known as peacekeeping. So basically, the military observers who are unarmed, they are placed in strategic locations, and they keep notes between the warring faction and the other faction, between the two warring factions actually, and they report. They don't do anything else. Okay, but Chapter 7 is what is called as peace enforcement, and that is basically, in simple terms, shoot to kill. Okay, Darfur mission where I was Chapter 7. Which is because there was genocide that was happening in this. And tragically, it's still happening today also. Again, if you want to get your general knowledge, you can look at it. So these are some statistics. Again, you know, what are the peacekeeping missions up to now? How many personnel? All that. Okay. The last point is very important. Number of fatalities in UN operations. 1589. That has grown since then. So it's not an easy thing as well. And these are some logistics statistics, how many vehicles and all of that the UN operations have. So it's quite a huge this thing. All of you are familiar with this, right? I don't see much people saying yes. Yes? Okay. As you know, this is 2030. We are not going to meet it. That also you know, which is sad, but what to do. These are the goals. Again, no need for me to go through them, but this is what it is. Okay. And then the World Bank group. Okay. How many of you know the World Bank? What do you know about the World Bank? Okay, go ahead, please. Sit down, sit down. You can talk. Sorry?
So my name is Yashwanthan, and so World Bank, what they do is they, like every country puts some money in the bank, and whenever a country faces some problem like related to economy, so the World Bank gives the country a loan. Like India took a loan in 1990, like around 1990s in starting, because of their economy was crashing. Then we also implemented liberalization, privatization, and globalization on the terms of World Bank.
Very good. Excellent. So that's basically what it is. When I used to tell people that I was working for the World Bank, I said, so sala sabka paisa aapke paas hai, The World Bank is not a bank. It's not a commercial bank. It's a development bank. Okay? And that's very true. In fact, that's true even for the UN. The UN and the World Bank is basically, you're still not working, but we are working. So all our tax money, part of the tax money is being paid by the government of India to the UN and the World Bank to become members of that. Okay? And I think I should narrate this. So very interesting way the UN works. Okay? The UN has several budgets. The most important budget it has is what is called assessed funds. Since you're all management graduates, you should know that. It's what is called assessed funds. The assessed funds are basically the funds that each country contributes depending upon their GDP and other such things. The few main countries, including United States contributes about 25, 26, 27%, depends. And then Europe, Australia and all contribute, and Japan contribute about the balance 60%. So totally about 86% is contributed by these people. And India and others contribute much less. But what is interesting is that because I'm an Indian and I was working for the United Nations, part of my salary, not that it was taken from me, but it was deemed, part of my salary was taken as India's contribution to the United Nations. So as many Indians working in the United Nations, that portion of our salary was deducted from the India's contribution to the United Nations. That's how assessed funds are dealt with. That's the World Bank group headquarters in Washington, D.C. It's very close to the White House, walking distance. So that's the inside of the building. And these are the 5 main pillars of the World Bank. IBRD is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. That's the main function. That's whom I used to work for. Okay, that's the main. Then IFC is the International Finance Corporation, which is for the private funding. And when I say private funding, it's not just you and me giving funding. It's basically some nations prefer to give the private funding, and that's how that is created. Then IDA is basically a loan. Now this is again, because you're finance people, I'll just quickly explain to you. And you mentioned about India getting a loan. So when IBRD gives a loan to countries, it's about 7 to 8% interest only that they give the loan. Okay, and it is given for 15, 20, 25 years. Okay, so long repayment period. IDA also gives similar loans, but it is like a grant. So that loan is written off. And that's given to certain countries whose GDP is much lower. The thresholds are known. You can Google that and find out. IFC, as I said, is that. MIGA that's a very interesting thing that was formed, this thing. You're all familiar with insurance, right? Certain countries, certain areas rather, of the world are in conflict. Okay. Now, if you're in a conflict zone, no insurance company will give you insurance, right? Because they cannot guarantee this thing. So what happens then is that MIGA steps in and they guarantee to. So that allows development in that country. Obviously, it's not as simple as it sounds. It's very complex, but that's what it is. And then finally, this settlement disputes is what it is. So that's the World Bank again for you. I've already explained that to you. I'm not going to go through in more detail. And that's the IFC, MIGA, and the ICSID. These are the core values, impact, integrity, respect, teamwork, and innovation. These core values are the guiding principles. This is a complex thing. The only reason why I'm showing it to you is because right in the center of that is a gentleman by the name Ajay Banga. People who are in the armed forces would know that Ajay Banga's father was also in the armed forces. And he is currently the president of the World Bank. He's nominated by the United States. He's a US citizen. Typically, I know that there was a lot of euphoria when he was nominated and when Geeta Gopinath was nominated to the IMF. And everybody said, Indian. None of them are Indian. They are all US citizens. Okay, so that's how they got nominated. And but it again goes to show to you that you can achieve to be there as well. Ajay Banga, for those you can go Google, he is the one who actually turned MasterCard around. Okay, MasterCard was in doldrums, then he became the president of MasterCard, and he turned it around. It's quite a dynamic chap. You should read some of his things. He talks exceedingly well. So World Bank in India, you mentioned, it's already there. There are 2 offices in India, actually 3 offices in India of the World Bank. The main office is in Delhi, because all World Bank offices are in the capital country. We have an office in Mumbai, which is the IFC office. IFC also has an office in Delhi. And then there is another huge office in Chennai, which is actually the back office. Okay. All our accounts are handled in Chennai. Okay. So it's very interesting. It's over now, I think, over 2,000 strong, so quite a number of people there. And it's a 24/7 operation. And in fact, our servers, we have servers all over. Main is in Washington. One set of servers are in Chennai. And the third set of servers are in Spain. So this is the most important thing for me and for you. What are the lessons learned? Patience. Patience is not a virtue but an absolute necessity. Okay? I myself am a culprit of that. I've also exhibited less patience in my younger days. Now, of course, I am.
I think the noise is coming because the mobile might be carrying.
Oh.
Keep it here.
Okay. So patience is a very important criteria. Okay. The second is humility. And the other 2 words are also very important, integrity and moral courage. And by that, what I mean is that I started off my thing by saying that whenever you speak with conviction. Okay. And that's important. If then only people listen to you, and you can be assured that you maintain your own integrity in that. Now that's the ethos you all know, so I'm not going to talk about it. But this is the 4th line is also very interesting. What can you do? You can either laugh or you can cry. So you might as well laugh, There's no point in crying. What's it going to get you? Tears don't get you anywhere, but laughter might. Laughter is contagious. Okay? So that's an important thing. I talked about political situations, sensitivities, managing diverse expectations. This is, we talked about that also, respect for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's very important. Gender balance. I noticed that as soon as I came into the room, right? So, and then finally, listen with empathy. Okay. Can anybody give me an example of listen with empathy? Please. Just sit down, sit down, sit down.
I think so we should listen to other people, understand their emotion and feelings, what they are trying to convey to us.
That's correct. Yeah, because we always have to, when somebody starts talking, our tendency is to talk about ourselves first. Okay. This is a very important thing. I can tell you that I've been back in the country now for 3 years, after a gap of 25 years. I'm extremely happy personally, extremely, couldn't be happier, okay, after having lived abroad for 25. But professionally, I am very, very, very frustrated. And the reason I'm frustrated is not because of anything, but because of communication. Okay? Don't get me wrong, people are extremely respectful, nice, etc., etc. A typical example that I always give is that I contact my chartered accountant, who's been my chartered accountant for the last 30 years, and a good friend of mine. I send him a message, and no response. Now, you guys use a lot of WhatsApp, which I personally hate, but I know that's the best means of communication. And when I finally get through to him and I said, Kishore, you didn't respond to me. No, I've seen your message. So how the hell do I know that you've seen my message? I don't know that you've seen my message. I know that you are actioning it, etc., but how do I know? I don't. And that's typical. I get stories every day, including yesterday. Don't worry, sir. कल शाम तक आप भेजते हैं. कल शाम तो आते हैं नहीं, And that's not disrespect, It's just the way it is. And we have sort of got into that as being acceptable way of doing business, which is sad. And that's a very important thing in spoken and written form, And I'll talk about the last point now first before just to say. All of you know the famous actor Amitabh Bachchan, right? And this is observation, okay? I don't know if any of you have observed, but when he's speaking, he always uses the word please and thank you. Always. Right? But did you think about it till now? Exactly. You see? And that's the important thing. These two words make a lot of difference. So that communication is very important, And you have to respond to a correspondence in a timely manner. Now, the World Bank took it to another extreme, which I also personally found a little bit this thing. In the sense that when you send a message to anybody, that individual will respond to you immediately saying, got it, or thank you, And then I respond saying, okay, thank you. Then that person also says thank you. And that, that sort of goes like a ping pong. It sometimes goes too often, but you can't fault it because that sort of shows what it is. And I'm talking not at even the senior people, okay? I'll talk about a mission of mine in Darfur where the director used to get about over 300-400 mails a day. He used to respond to me with just why, just the word why. Letter Y. And I asked him, I said, Mohammed, he said, no, I respond to everybody. Whether, so busy, but still doing that. And that's something that we lack. This is the most important thing in life, opportunities. Okay? We all get a lot of opportunities in life. And we tend to procrastinate, we don't tend to grab it. Okay? Now, you will, through your life, throughout, including today's opportunity, okay, for me, let's talk about today's opportunity for me. I was telling him, I was not supposed to be a speaker today. I don't know if you know that. But I was not supposed to be a speaker today. The speaker today was Lieutenant General Abhay Parnaik. Your patron is Lieutenant General K.T. Parnaik, his brother. Okay. Abhay and I go back a long way because he and I served together in the Congo when he was the Indian Armed Forces and I was the chief engineer in the Congo. That's how I know back, way back to 2003. Okay. Abhay couldn't make it, so he asked me, could I do it? I grabbed the opportunity and I'm here today in front of you. Now, whether you say that's a good thing or not, I'm not going to get into that. Don't answer that question, please. I don't want to know that answer. But that's the thing, simple things like that. The opportunities come your way. Okay? Grab them. Don't be too, you have to think. I'm not saying just don't be foolhardy. You have to think. Okay? I'll take a case of I'm now talking about you guys because a young lady came to me once saying that, she had an opportunity in Nairobi. Beautiful opportunity to work with the UN in Nairobi. She contacted me through some friends. I didn't know her directly. And I said, this is fantastic. I know the people over there. And in fact, she was worried about the security in Nairobi. So I said, look, I know the chief security officer of the UN in Nairobi. I've spoken to him about you. Should you go there, he'll personally look after you and make sure. In the end, she didn't go because her parents said no. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into the rights and wrong and all these things, but this is an opportunity. Okay. You have to take it. There are risks associated with every opportunity, they calculate risk, but then I had negated the risk to the extent that the chief security officer was going to look after her. And the UN security mechanism is fantastic. Okay. So there's no problem as such. Yes, you go out and make a fool of yourself, that's a different thing. Then nobody can help you. Okay. So that's the most thing. Okay. And the last point is very important. Success without failure is not possible. Okay. So you just cannot expect to be successful and not have failures. Only then, there's a saying, right? Take the beaten path, okay, so that you get to know what it is. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what I did, and this is a little bit of boasting about what I did, okay? And I understand very few of you are engineering graduates, so you might not appreciate it, but nevertheless, it is who I am, so that's what it is. So these are the projects that I did. I'm not going to get into the details of the project, but this project was one of the first, was a project in a country called Laos. How many of you know where Laos is?
Sir, this is like below China, like near the Vietnam part. Like
Correct.
Vietnam support.
Yeah, but I want to see the hands going up. Who else knows about Laos? Laopedia, yeah, okay, very few. Okay, so this is a landlocked country, and I was tasked to set up a World Bank office in that thing. So we decided to do a ground-up construction right from the ground. And the interesting thing about this is that this was on a heritage site. So when I said that I'm going to start the construction, the government came, archaeological department of the government said, look, you cannot do anything over there because this is a protected site. So the negotiations with them took 1 year. Okay? 1 year. Several visits by me all the way from Washington to here. It takes 3 flights. There is no single straight flight. 3 flights to get there, 24 hours. You're dog tired by the reach there. But finally we did it. And I'm proud to say that this building is it's a green building platinum rating. Okay? So it's a fully sustainable building. This is in Sri Lanka. Again, the World Bank office is in Sri Lanka. How many of you have been to Sri Lanka? Nobody? Oh, you should go. You should go. It's a beautiful country. This was also awarded platinum rating, but this was in interior works in that. This is in Myanmar. How many of you know where Myanmar is? Okay. How many of you know of Myanmar? Nobody. Okay. Have you heard of the lady called Aung San Suu Kyi?
Yes.
Nobel Prize winner? Anyway. So the interesting thing about this is that the country was closed to outsiders till a long time. And in 2011, they opened it. And I led the first mission of the World Bank into that to open an office. And after some time, we opened this office. And this office was the first LEED gold rated office in that country. Okay. Bangladesh, you of course know. And this was an existing building. We managed to convert it and get a LEED platinum gold rating for this one also. I did a lot of work in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay. And that's what it is, mainly giving them electricity for the World Bank offices in that area. How many of you know where Mauritania is?
Yes.
Hey, you, okay, one person. Where is it?
Is it small island, sir?
Small?
It's a small island.
Island? No, it's not. You're talking about Mauritius. You're talking about Mauritius. I think all of you need to brush up your geography. Huh? Mauritania is on the west coast of Africa. We constructed an office there too. This is UN peacekeeping, the various missions that I did. I'm going to talk a little bit about Darfur. Okay, this was the most exciting mission for me. I was the first chief engineer. The area of the mission was 3/4 the size of Europe, 500,000 square kilometers. Okay, it's a huge area. And the budget that I got approved from the United Nations, and you will soon get budgets approved because you're going to get that in your time to come, was $750 million for 2 years. Okay, and I had to spend $542 million of that in the first year. We don't have much time, so I'm not going to go through this. I think 15 minutes only left, but I could talk a lot more about this. You're all familiar with Lebanon? So the war is going on. I was there in the year 2000 for 3 years. And I'll tell you a story about this in a few minutes. In fact, let me tell you right now. One of the force commanders, who manages the entire peacekeeping force was Major General Lalit Mohan Tiwari from India. And General Tiwari, I was the chief engineer. The Israelis had withdrawn from there, and we had to get into that very quickly, otherwise the Hezbollah would get into that area. So a lot of mine clearing and all that kind of thing to do. And I went to a mission, I went to an area one morning with my staff, who was a local staff. Before you go, you have to get clearances from the security that you're going there. I managed to get the clearances. We went up to that area, we took a right turn, and suddenly in front of us was a Hezbollah man with an AK-47 and cocked. He comes to my side, knocks on the window and says to pull the window down. I can't speak Arabic, nor can I speak French, so I told my staff, I said, translate. Basically, he said, look, what are you doing here? This is Hezbollah territory. Go back. So I said, this was a UN mission till yesterday, a UN position. He said, no, this last night we took it over. Please go back. So, came back. That's how dangerous these places can be. This is the factory I told you in Kapurthala for the Rajiv Gandhi Longowal Accord. This is in Mumbai. It's this thing. This is in Bangalore, which is no longer there. Real estate has taken over. I just want to talk about the photograph on the left. Can anybody tell me what those brown things are? Take a wild guess. Huh? You're not going to be able to guess. Take a wild guess. No? Sorry? No, the brown. There's the marker. Oh, I can't. The brown things on top.
On top. Sir, landsliding happens, so for that they have constructed, so it automatically goes up like that.
No. You know what that is? That's beer bottles. This was construction. Yeah. So my boss at the time, he's no more. He is the one who conceived this. Now, it's very interesting, the way why he conceived this and how. Basically, you have a beer bottle, you cut the bottom of the beer bottle off, okay, by this thing. And then you put the one bottle into the other. And then you put it on concrete. This is the beer bottle, this is concrete. What happens is that there is an air gap that is formed, so that becomes insulation. And every time it rains, and in Bangalore, I mean, I'm sure you know Bangalore, it rains almost 9 months of the year. Whenever it rains, it just cleans, and the whole place, the whole facade looks very clean. This was in Dammam, Saudi Arabia. This is in Bahrain. What you see on the right is a 20-meter diameter glass dome. Okay, that dome was transported all the way from America to Bahrain, and I'm proud to say that only one glass was broken. This is the Prince of Wales Museum in Mumbai. I'm sure you all know Prince of Wales Museum. And we did an extension to that. It's a grade 1 heritage structure. The one on the right is an extension, so I was doing that. That's technology. So it's not all hunky-dory, huh? So it's not all fun and games. These are real bullets. This is in Cote d'Ivoire. Do you know where Cote d'Ivoire is? Ivory Coast? Okay, it's on the west coast of Africa. It was undergoing, whilst we were there, it underwent another civil war. They started shooting at the building. We had to evacuate all our staff. And when I went there, the staff showed me, I mean, a few skeletal staff showed me all these bullets and all that. And we had to obviously do that. This is how I used to live. You all are living in a privileged thing. This is how I used to live. For 1 year, I lived in this damn thing. The one on the left is my bed, and you can see stark, like a prison environment, right? That's how I used to live. And the one on the right is my office. The office is where I used to have my breakfast in the morning. One meal a day, which we used to go out. You've heard the word chow, right? American word chow. That's what it is. It was a army, this thing. They used to serve us there. Only one place. We had to go out. That literally, it is patak, used to put, go eat it, and that's it. In the night, no food. So I used to live in New York at the time. So in those days, those packets that you call the MTR packets with ready dal and rajma and all that had just started. So all that I used to carry, every 3 months I had to go back because that's how the mission work was hard. All that my bag was packed with all of these things. I used to come. I had bought a small rice cooker. Microwaves were provided by the UN. Small rice cooker. I used to bring rice from home. I used to carry that, cook a little bit rice, heat one of those packets, and that was my dinner every night. What happened? One fine day I was out in the mission, and I got acute pain in my abdomen. I didn't know what the hell is happening. I had to double up, and I slept. You see. And my boss was with me. He said, "What the hell happened to you?" I said, "I have no clue." Then, when somehow managed to get back to the mission headquarters where we were, and I don't trust, with all due respect, I don't trust the UN doctors or anybody, And they sort of diagnosed, nothing, you have this tablet or not. I ran back straight to New York and got myself tested, and they said I have a liver infection. And they said they had to do a biopsy. And believe me, this is something also very important. Although I had the best of doctors in Israel, in the UN, in New York and all that, I used to believe only my cousin who was 10 years, 12 years older, 20 years actually, older than me in Mumbai. I used to call him, I said, "Madhu, this is what they have said, what shall I do?" He said, "Yes, do it. No, don't do it." So he said, "No, don't do biopsy." My doctor, who was known to us, family, she was upset like hell, because I said, "I'm not doing biopsy." But the result was the next 1 year, no booze, boiled food, and that's it. 1 year. Now I can drink, I can eat. So if you want to feed me, you can. Okay. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this is what it is. And in fact, that's very important. In that same mission, this mission, the UN medical director for the entire United Nations, okay, not just peacekeeping, the entire, wherever in the world you are, the United Nations medical director and her team came. Incidentally, she happened to be an Indian. She came and they went round Sudan and they said the kind of diseases that we have seen in this country, we have not seen anywhere in our lives. So what's my motivation, First, obviously, my wife, and that's the that's the entrance to the World Bank office in Washington, D.C. And those are my two boys. You can see that I look like a dwarf in front of them. So, and today my focus is only this, my three-year-old granddaughter. That's it. So I am very clear. I've given instructions to anybody. Prime Minister Modi calls also, he's not going to call, but if he calls, if I'm with my granddaughter, sorry, I will not answer. That's my motivation. That's all I concentrate on now in my life. So thank you very much. So closing thoughts, very important. So what are the closing thoughts? First is the principles I followed and even today, okay? Work ethics and integrity is important. Living the values inculcated by the parents, That, I think, is the most important thing, What values our parents teach us are so important. We tend to say, मम्मी ने कुछ बोल दिया, ठीक है ना, मम्मी डैडी को जाके बोलो कि अरे क्या कर रहे हो, ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हो, all that kind of thing we think of. You only tend to realize it much later in life, okay. I will not narrate too many examples, but that's what it is, okay. And maintain the epitome values that you are born with, because we are all born with certain values. But as we grow older, we tend to go off the path. Okay, let's put it very mildly, and try not to. I know it's difficult, but try not to. And compassionate human being, Class barriers are there. Let me explain that in a minute. And follow a discipline, Never be afraid. And when I talk about class barriers, I just want to say it. In India, we have class barriers, right? Tremendous class barriers. I was shocked when I first went to Lebanon, and a new force commander had come. He was a 4-star, went on to become the chief of Ghanaian Armed Forces. But when he had come, and he was coming on his rounds, and we were all standing there waiting for him to come and all that. One local Lebanese guy, who's actually happened to be my staff only, comes, and the general is walking like this. He goes to the general, shakes his hand, and then he puts his arm around the general. That time he was a 4-star general. Okay? I'm looking at him, I said, what the hell is going on? Imagine even today, I know General Parnaik, but I'm not going to go and put my arm around General Parnaik, even if this thing, even today. And the best part is that the general took it as if it's a done thing. The guy also didn't feel that he was doing something different, This is something which tells you a lot. So, like you are all smartly dressed, I was not. You can see in college. That's me in college. Can you guess where I am? Sorry? On the right? Middle? So let's take a vote count here. Right? Okay. Middle? Okay. And left? Oh, left is smart people, So that's the one in the middle is the Gujubai. I'm sorry if there are any Gujubais here, but then my wife keeps cursing him, so you wasted one bloody engineering seat, because he graduated as a civil engineer. 1 year later, he was in the US, and he's been there since. The one on the right continued to be a civil engineer, and he is back in India. He happened to be, all of you have heard of Sobha Builders, right? He was the managing director of Sobha in Dubai, in Middle East. So that's it. Thank you very much. Any questions? Oh, wow, good. That's what I like most, You are asking a lot of questions, so you go first, Yeah, take the mic. Take the mic, please.
Jai Hind sir, my name is Yash Mittal, and I just want to ask that as you have traveled to the Middle East and there is a lot of insurgency in some countries. So have you faced any near-death experience or like something like which is very scary or like traumatizing something?
I have. Thank you. One incident, as I told you, was in Lebanon. Uh, the other incident was not directly to me, but to my staff in Darfur. I got a call one day in Darfur in the afternoon saying that my staff in another location further away, who were contractors, were coming back from the work home. And their car was stopped by militants. They were stripped to their underpants, and then the car was taken, all their radios, phones, etc., everything was taken, and they were asked to walk almost 10 kilometers. Okay. So when I got this information, I called up my head of the mission in that particular location, and I told him, please be careful. He happened to be from Ethiopia. Please be careful and instruct all the staff not to be a martyr for the United Nations, and if you get caught in similar situations, just hand over whatever they want, including the UN car, and go away. Don't do anything. As it happened, this guy decided to be brave, he himself, and he went to the location, same location. While coming back, they tried to stop his car the next day. He did not, so they shot at him. Fortunately, nothing happened, except the car had bullet marks, but he managed to escape. Okay. There's another incident which happened to me personally. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but that's what happened to me. Yes, please.
Jai Hind, sir. My name is Chirag. Sir, thank you for sharing your experience. My question is, sir, you have an extensive experience in the African continent. So, in the 1960s, there used to be a term that used to float, third world nation. The entire African continent used to be associated with it. So my question is, sir, is that statement slowly diminishing because you have such experience and you have worked there?
It's a very interesting question, and I have a lot of African friends. So, no, please. I have a lot of African friends, and I always tell this to them very proudly. Africa today, the statistics are that the largest youth population, India of course is there, but more than India, the largest youth population is in Africa. And they are all well read and all of that. The problem, I tell them, with Africa is only one. It is still today the tribal mentality that exists. And let me tell you what I mean by tribal mentality. I had a staff, my staff, who was was working for me, a junior level staff in Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. He was directly connected to the president. I didn't know this till I got to know. Okay, so that's how powerful these people are, and so much so that even the director of the office was scared to do anything to him. So I tell them that if only you lose the tribal mentality and get together as a nation, you can defeat the entire world. Those countries are very well developed, some of them, not all of them, but some of them very well developed, really good. I love going to Africa. I always enjoyed whichever continent I went to. It all had positive. There were scary moments, there's no doubt about it. There are scary moments. But, you go to New York and there's a scary moment in Harlem. You don't go to Harlem, right? So that's what it is. So, yes, please. Now let this gender be, let the gender balance will also be there.
Sir, my name is Pramita. So actually my question to you is that in the conflict zones, what was harder to manage, the physical engineering or the local geopolitics?
The local geopolitics. Local geopolitics is extremely important because if you're not cognizant of what is happening in the local context, you can be in big trouble. Let me again give you an example. Okay, Darfur again. We had to go to a particular location where the army wanted us to go, as in set up a UN mission, a UN position. So I sent my team, that is my own staff, there. They looked at it and all came back saying this location is good. Then I decided to send. I had an Egyptian engineering team working for me, from the Egypt army. It's the army. They had to go and do the work there. When I gave the orders, the local leader came back to us to say that we will not allow Egypt to come. Okay? So geographically, Sudan borders Egypt. I didn't know this, but there was some conflict that was going on between the two. So they refused to let the Egyptians go there. I had to send somebody else. So these kind of things are very, very important, and you need to be cognizant of that. More cognizant than any other physical kind of thing. Thank you.
Jain sir, my name is Ayush Upadhyay. Sir, after working in so many countries and being among a lot of people from different geographical backgrounds, what do you think, what are those qualities and leadership qualities basically, which are universally accepted and respected apart from this geographical and ethnical gap?
Respect. That's the most important thing. You have to respect your own staff. If you don't respect your own staff, there's nothing that can happen. You cannot lose your temper. You have to be very careful on how you deal with them, all of them. Word travels very fast. Okay, you have to respect. That's the main thing. And you cannot fib. Okay. I'm seeing now today in India that everybody is fibbing, and no disrespect to any of you or anything like that. In the sense that instead of accepting the fault, you tend to throw it upon somebody else. The first thing that you need to learn is to accept your own fault. And if you say sorry right at the beginning, that yes, you made a mistake, then they respect you. So respect, integrity, and maintain a bit of humility. A lot of humility, actually.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Jain sir, my name is Prasad Kerkar. Sir, what exactly is international corporate real estate? And if someone wants to get into it, how he can?
So that's only a terminology per se. Okay, the World Bank. The World Bank has offices in almost all the countries. Okay, about 180 odd countries. It has a huge setup in Washington D.C. and about 10 different offices in Washington D.C. itself. It's very difficult to manage these things. So what the corporate real estate has done is that they have made it into two parts. Part A is dealing with Washington, and that's called headquarters real estate. And part B is dealing with international real estate, international location, and that's called international real estate. So, for example, I have worked in most of the countries except in Latin America, and my last portfolio was heading the international real estate for Southeast Asia and East Asia Pacific, a total of about 45 countries. Okay. No girls? No questions from the girls? Yes, please.
Samat Nathe. Sir, I really want to know, throughout your career till now, throughout your journey, what made you be consistent? Because in your journey, you have traveled half of the world. You have to adapt a lot of new things. So what keep you consistent, adapting things, learning new things? What helped you to be consistent in those things?
I really don't know. I always say that to do these jobs, you have to have a little streak of madness within you. Okay. The thing is that this is very addictive to me. Okay. It's very addictive. I like to travel. So this gave me an opportunity to travel, see different places, meet different people, engage with different people, you know. It's not easy, as you know. None of these things are easy. So that was my motivation, so to speak, you know, on doing these things, you know. And I also felt that, you know, I'm doing something for humanity in all these things, which is an important criteria for me even today, which is why I'm here today, you know, because what it is. There's one, any more questions? Okay. Professor had asked me a question which I said I will answer in this so that all of you can. He asked me, how did you get into this, correct? And I think that's an important lesson for all of you. And what I spoke about, taking opportunities, okay? We are past the time, I know. Another 5 minutes? Okay. So what happened is that I'm taking you back to the year 1999. Okay. My wife and I decided that we should travel once a year abroad. We didn't have much money, but whatever little money that we had, we said we should travel because both of us loved to see. And that year we decided to go to Italy. Okay. And as luck would have it, I told her that I know a friend of mine lives in Italy and works for somebody, the UN or something like that. I didn't know the details. And I said I have lost touch with him. Okay. So, as I said, in those days, it was no simple thing, you know, WhatsApp, this, that, all these things. Only email was there. Somehow or the other, he used to live in Delhi and I'm in Mumbai. Somehow or the other, I managed to get in touch with his wife. And she gave me his email ID and I wrote to him saying, hey, I'm coming to Italy. The usual places, Rome, Florence, and that's it, you know, Venice, and that's it, touristy thing. I said, where are you? He said, look, I'm in a part of Italy that even the Italians don't consider as Italy. He was in the southeast of Italy on the Adriatic coast. Now, as I said, all of you need to get your geography. So next lesson for you is geography. So I firmly believe that the best way to see any country, any new place, is to see it through the eyes of the local. So I said, look, never mind, we'll come. So he said, okay, come. This was in February of 1999. And basically what we agreed is that we would come, take the train, overnight train, from Rome to this place called Brindisi. Okay? And bloody cold in the night. We had not anticipated it being so cold. But anyway, landed at 5 o'clock in the morning at Brindisi station. He was there to pick us up. Took us straight to the base, which was an old World War II base. Okay, an Air Force base. Okay, ushered us into the guest room, which was about this size. Okay, I'm not from here to here. Bloody opulent, beautiful room. You know, the bathroom was about this big. You know, so gosh. So he said, look, have a shower, get ready, and come down for breakfast. So that's what we did. By 7 or 7:30, we were out in his car, roamed us around that part of Italy. And when we were returning back in the evening, he said, look, would you like to come and work here? I said, for what? I had no clue what he was doing. You know? He said, no, I'm getting another position in Africa. I'm going there. They need somebody. I can recommend your name. I said, but what the hell do you do? I have no clue what you do. He said, no, don't worry. You will be able to manage. Because he and I were contemporaries. You know, we had worked together. He's also a civil engineer. In fact, for the rail coach factory, he was one of the persons working with me at the time. And then in the evening, we had dinner with the head of HR. Head of HR happened to be a Sadaji. And we sat down for dinner and we had dinner, and then Sadaji also started. Aap aa jao. I said, aa jao means kya hai? This is like, saying it's like saying now, let's go after this for lunch, like that. Aa jao. I said, what the hell? It's not like that. And I didn't know the man, at least I knew that. So no, don't worry, you come. It'll be easy. So I left it at that. I said, okay, you let us know when the time comes. And came back, forgot about it. This, as I said, in February. In May, early May, I get a email from him. Can you come next week? I said, what the hell is wrong with you? Eh? What is next week? And that was the time when I had my own consultancy going on. So anyway, I consulted my clients and friends, etc., and all of them said, hey, this is a great opportunity. Why don't you take it up? And it was for 3 months. He said, come for 3 months. And then I negotiated with them. I said, look, I'll come for 2 months. You know? And that's how I went there. Okay. When I was about to finish my assignment there, the Sardaji comes to my office saying, can you extend for another 2 months? I said, I have a business going on in Mumbai. My people are looking after me. I had a partner, and I need to get back, you know. And this was not a permanent thing as such, and I didn't know what was happening. No, please, let's do it. So again, I spoke to my people and I negotiated. I said, let's make it 1 month. Okay. After he came, the head of the mission came, the boss. One more person, then the boss. All of them came and said, then when that 1 month was getting over, all 3 of them again came and said, look, why don't you join the UN? I said, what does it mean? You know, I mean, join the UN with what? Where? What? That we'll see. You join. Then this same Sardaji comes in the office, and those days, now you guys are privileged. You have everything on your internet. Those days you had to fill a form with handwriting. I think it was 7, 8, 10 pages long form. I said, what the hell? I have no clue what to ask for. He said, sit down. Put this here, set this here, set this here. So he sat in front of me and made me fill up the form. I said, Abhi, sign karo, de do. Again, you forget about it. And come October, I get a call saying that you have been selected for the United Nations for this mission. And again, then I had to discuss about my company and all of that. And now here I am standing, 28 years later. Thank you very much.